today I am honoured and excited to have an R35 GTR Nismo on the channel. 750 wheel horsepower on a Mustang dyno, so that's nearly 800 to the wheels on a Dyno jet, and on the crank that's nearly 900. So what we have here is an ultimate street weapon, a missile. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe and press that thumbs up button because it helps the channel. The GT-R Nismo is Nissan's flagship performance car that can spank a Porsche 911 Turbo around the Nürburgring Nordschleife. It has permanent all-wheel drive and a 3.8 litre twin-turbo engine that produces 600 horsepower at the crank. It can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 2.7 seconds. Nismo is short for Nissan Motorsport, and the GT-R Nismo comes with the larger turbos from Nissan's GT3 race car. The R32 GTR gained the world's attention in 1991 when it annihilated the competition in Australian Group A touring car racing. The Australians hated it. The legendary BMW M3 Evolution and the Ford Sierra RS Cosworth 500 simply couldn't keep up. This example is tuned to around 900 horsepower at the crank, therefore we should get a taste of Bugatti Veyron rivaling performance.
Alright, my name's Dustin Welsh and this is my 2016 Nissan GT-R Nismo.
Wow, Nismo. Alright, what's the difference between the Nismo and the regular GTR?
So the main difference obviously you're going to see is the aesthetics. So the big part's going to be your carbon fiber side skirts, your rear diffuser, your front splitter on the car is all carbon fiber, the rear deck lid, and obviously the rear wing, as well as the internals on the motor. The internals are coated in some special coating that they place on them, as well as the turbos. The turbos are derived from a GT3 car from the Nismo race team. So that's going to be your main differences between the regular GTR and the Nismo.
This car has stock suspension, right?
This is correct. This has stock factory Nismo suspension, which you can select between 3 different drive modes.
Okay, fantastic. And I remember you were telling me that this has a custom diff setup.
Correct. So this has the burnout box inside of it to where you can choose to go from 2-wheel drive, or you can change your bias between how much you want from the front diff, taking 25% and up to 50%. So this vehicle was obviously bought factory with all the Nismo stuff on it, and then it was shipped to English Racing up in Washington. So at English Racing they did their full bolt-on kit from the full race intercooler to, they changed their injectors, obviously bigger for the E85. It's got dual pumps in the rear for the E85, as well as the intakes and then the downpipes. The factory exhaust is still on the back of this car because the factory was a titanium exhaust that came as a crazy markup at $15,000 just for the exhaust. So they kept that on the car. And then it has a full Shep Stage 4 transmission placed in the car, as long as DSS Pro axles, since this car was kind of set up for drag racing. It's obviously a flex fuel car, so if we run low on E85 we can always get 91 and it still keeps on going, but it drops below, if we get below E70 it drops down 100 horsepower just for a conservative tune on the car.
Fantastic. Have you had the car on a dyno?
We did have the car on the dyno. It put down 736 on E85, and that was on a Mustang dyno. So that the tuner English Racing kind of did a conservative tune on the car to make the car last, obviously. You can get more out of it, but you're not going to push because the benefit's not going to outweigh anything else.
Okay, so 736 on a Mustang, we're probably looking at about maybe 820. My maths is not good off the top of my head, but about 820 on the dyno jet. Correct. On the stock block. On a stock block with stock Nismo GT3 turbos. Let's go, second gear, rolling onto the throttle, coming up to a corner a little bit. Okay, so it's a linear power delivery. It is a little laggy, linear, and the third gear is pulls from lowering the RPM. So this is a great stock turbo setup. Something a bit different about the braking here. So straight away, there's not much bite. You have to pump it somewhat, and then suddenly the power comes. So this had a full drag pack setup on the car prior. So the front rotors on the car are RPS carbons. So you'll have it
where it's similar is you see carbon ceramics, but these are carbons that take a little bit longer to make. Their company that makes them, RPS, makes the same brakes for F1 Indy cars. It had the single rotor on the back, or the single piston with a very small rotor, so you can put the small drag pack setup on the car. We took that off because during canyon drives, freeway drives, anything else, it does not like to stop quickly. So if a road hazard comes out in front of you or anything else, you got to be able to stop to avoid it, so that way you don't crash into whatever it's in front of you.
Third gear, wide open throttle, it moves. Big speed, having to pump the brakes. It's not upset. I'm actually quite mind blown and mind boggled at how much power you can carry through the corners. Okay, the car starts to slide, the rear does start to go, but it's a progressive slide, and you can actually feel all four wheels sliding. This four-wheel drive setup, again, it's over 10 years old now, but still, in my opinion, best in class. Our 888Rs really do the business, make this a brutal canyon car. Brakes are great. In fact, I'm braking too much, so I really have to recalibrate my mind just to really understand how much speed I can carry through the corners. But this is a beast of a car. It's brutality. Again, second gear, mash the throttle, bang. Great braking. Woo, woo. Again, took that corner a little hot, but the chassis took care of me. And I've got a little bit of driving skill as well, so that helps. Just a little speed everywhere you go. I mean, been driving the car for about 10 minutes now, so I'm not fully acquainted to it. But straight away, I know that this car is my friend, my companion. I mean, going back in history, looking back in the 90s with the R32 and Australian touring car racing, I mean, that's how this car was named Godzilla. It just demolished everything, and this car is just demolishing the road easily without any sweat whatsoever. It's a heavy car. So again, this is over 1,700 kilograms, I believe, which is 3,700 pounds in American speak, and you feel it on the braking. You don't feel it anywhere else but on the braking, and you really do feel it. So you have to brake early. But again, can you hear that? Can you feel the performance? I mean, this is a 200-mile-an-hour car easily out the gate, just with a bit of tuning and exhaust. I mean, this is just like the 90s. So just let me tell you this again. 800 horsepower, stop block, stop turbos. This is Nismo engineering. This is JDM at its finest. Such a car. Concentration is high, but the car is so capable. These cars have been around for so long, so the hype is gone, but getting back into it, it is still a world-class, world-leading driving machine. Again, I had the luxury of another straight here. Third gear, let's go. Fourth gear, let's go. Oh, she's fast. Again, on those brakes. What a machine. The owner, as always, is sitting next to me, but he's not freaking out. But I want to really do my best to convey my driving impressions and review this car. Steering in this car is good. There's some chatter. It's telling me what's going on. You know, it's not a Lotus Elise, but I know what's going on. I can feel everything. I get a bit of shimmy in the steering from the R888Rs. It's telling me exactly what's going on. You know, I can feel communication from the chassis through the steering wheel. I can feel it in my bottom as well. It's a communicative car, and that's the thing. People say, oh, these cars are like computer games. It's not like a computer game. This is a car that is engaging it's interactive and you have to work to get the speed out of it. But when you work, believe me, the car just flies.
This 2016, obviously the early models, the first production year, the 2009 to 2012, that transmission required the service to be done at 10,000 miles, whereas, and it depends on your driving, if you're doing spirited driving, track days, hard in the canyons, then you're on a change it more often than not, to whereas the 2012 and up, they doubled the lifespan of the fluid, but obviously still recommend it changing it after extreme track days or a lot of abuse on the car. And then obviously one of the weird parts on the car is the factory oil filter is the same oil filter that you would use in a 2016 Nissan Frontier. So they use the oil filter in many cars. So the oil changes in the car are actually very cheap compared to what you would expect for the car that it would require.
Okay, but so the biggest maintenance expense, I guess, are tires, because these 20 inches tires are huge.
Correct. The tires, the brakes on the car, because you're going to go through brakes due to the weight of the car. And those are kind of like your constant changing, to where you maybe get 6,000-7,000 miles out of a set of tires, and then your brakes are all going to depend as well, because you can warp them very quickly. And a nice spirited canyon run, you're going to come back and you're going to feel the chatter.
I hope that I gave you a good impression about what the car was like. The only thing is, in the canyons you have the weight, so you have to watch your entry speed when braking, because it's quite easy to come in too fast to the corner and understeer into the corner, and that's obviously potentially dangerous. So your driving style has to be modified to enable you to just brake earlier and then carry the speed through the corner at a constant throttle application. So you obviously can't mash it through the corner, but you can still keep the throttle at a fixed position and power through the corner. The car is fast, and it is honestly the best car I've ever driven. More seat time in the car would enable me to do amazing things in this car. It is so capable.
You guys may ask what King is on the side of the car and what AttorneyKing.com is. So Attorney King is Southern California's premier motorcycle and automotive accident injury attorney. So you guys obviously can go to AttorneyKing.com or go to our Instagram page at Attorney King Alampur. So I first met Attorney King about 15 years ago, and I was in a extreme motorcycle collision where I had a vehicle pull out in front of me at I was doing about 60 miles an hour, and I was sprinting right into the side of the vehicle in 2017. So obviously I had extensive damages, extensive injuries. One of the first things I did was contact Attorney King, because once you guys have an attorney on your side who actually truly cares about you and cares about getting you back to how you were before and taking care of all of the legal issues you have, making sure that you've got doctor's appointments assigned for you, that you're getting the best care as possible, you truly care about the person that's working for you just as much as they care about you getting you back to normal.
And please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and stay tuned for more content. Thank you very much for watching The Speed Addiction.